y'all are about to know so much more about me than my other two platforms do. Hi, I'm chaoticbookgremlin, aka Emma, and today we are going to be doing the BookTube Newbie Tag. This is my first ever proper video for BookTube, and I'm very excited and also very nervous. And I also think it's really funny how y'all are about to know so much more about me than my other two platforms do, and it's just occurred to me that I've never really introduced myself on there, so maybe I should do that too. Just a little bit about me before we properly get started. I'm a third-year English literature major with a minor in drama. I do want to work in publishing. I think that'd be fun. I love editing papers and stuff. I don't know why. I love editing other people's work. I hate editing my own work, but other people's work is really fun. I'm also currently a manager at a McDonald's, and I don't love that, but money's is important, so there's that. Some hobbies that I like to do aside from reading is I love creative writing. I write both novels and plays. I haven't written a novel in a while, but I have written a couple of plays since I've started school, one of which is actually going to be performed at my school at the end of March, so that's very exciting. I also love musical theater. I do musical theater. I sing. A very operatic soprano kind of vibe here. Phantom of the Opera is my favorite musical, and I also play piano recreationally, which is fun for me. I don't really perform with piano. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's go bring out the Inquisition, which is just my laptop, and you can also probably tell so much about my personality by my laptop stickers, which is always the best way to get to know someone. It's just like, hey, I like your laptop stickers. We have this in common. It's actually how I made a friend, because I complimented her Taylor Swift stickers. It was very fun. So question one is, why did you start this channel? So I've been wanting to start a booktube for a few years, but it never really felt like the right time, especially once I started school. My schedule got all crazy. I've had a book talk for about 4 years, and I've had a bookstagram for just under 2 years now at this point. And I love those platforms so much. They're just a really fun way for me to talk about books, because a lot of people in my immediate circle don't read as obsessively as I do. And like, I need more people to talk to about books other than just like the few people that I have in my life who read a lot. I also thought that some of my content might benefit from like longer form videos without the 3-minute time constraints on TikTok and Instagram. Like, I know, like, I think I do have the option to do like 10-minute videos on TikTok, but that seems like way too long for a TikTok video. So I normally try to keep them around 3 minutes, which I like to ramble. If you haven't noticed by now, I love rambling, and it's not fun for me when I have to, like, I take 20 minutes of footage and then I have to like trim it down into like under 3 minutes, and that's like a lot of thoughts that I have to cut out. Question two, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So most of my videos are entirely unscripted. Like even this one, I have like the questions written down and just some like very brief answers as to what I'm going to say in response to these questions. But most of these thoughts are just like coming entirely out of my head in real time. So we're just kind of like going off of stream of consciousness here, which is especially fun for this because I have ADHD, which means my thoughts go in like 50 different directions all at once. So I go on these like little like side rambles, side quests, whatever you want to call them, where I'll kind of like temporarily deviate from the original topic. I tend to go back to what I was talking about in the first place, but sometimes it just like it takes on a little journey. So I get from point A to point B in a very different scenario than a lot of people. I do want to like lean into that kind of like unscripted stream of consciousness thing more, especially in relation to ADHD, because there is a reason that my handle is chaoticbookgremlin. There's chaotic there for a reason, and I tend to get really excited about things that I'm talking about, which just makes like my brain jump around even more, and like I just kind of like jump around between points and topics, which is fun for me. The unique things is just like me entertaining myself through not being able to stick to a singular cohesive topic, which is just always entertaining. Question three is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? So I love the different dynamics that come with different social media platforms. Like obviously I have a very different relationship with my followers on Instagram compared to my followers on TikTok. Instagram I feel is just like more personal. Like I tend to like know the people that I connect with on Instagram more so than the ones that I connect with on TikTok. And I also just like love promoting books that aren't as like talked about as much or like as widely known. And that doesn't mean like really obscure books that no one talks about ever. Like it could also just be books that like I regularly see on people's shelves and like in people's recommendations videos, but they don't really talk about them much. You know, books that might be on someone's radar, but because they don't talk about them as much, they don't have that like extra push to get them to read it. So I'm here to give that extra push. Question four, why do you love reading? So I'm not actually a big fan of this question. Like, does there need to be a set reason for why someone loves reading to like be classified as a reader? For me, the reason why I love reading kind of changes depending on the day. Like when I'm away at school, a lot of the times I love to read there because it's kind of like a break from like the soul-sucking nature that is academia, English majoring literature stuff. I think that is technically classified as a sentence. Or, like during like my breaks or stuff, like when I'm not like reading for like escapism, I love reading because I love reading. Like sometimes I love reading because like just the vibes are there, or sometimes I like reading because it's like educated. Like there's just so many different reasons why I love reading that I can't really settle on a specific one. Question 5, what book or series got you into reading? So again, this is another question that I don't really have a specific answer for because I've been reading for longer than I can remember. So like if there is a book that got me into reading, I don't remember it. The one that I remember the most is like during like 4th grade, the Warrior Cat series by Erin Hunter was like a big part of my childhood. I was obsessed with that series. It was like a type of series like for like over a year, that was all I was reading. Like I would finish reading the entire series and I'd go back and start over from the beginning. And I think I did that like maybe 5 or 6 times. So that was like kind of like my introduction to fantasy. Like there was obviously other books like the Rainbow Magic series, Magic Treehouse, like stuff like that I was reading when I was like much younger. And then in 9th grade I read The Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare and The Chronicles of Ixia by Maria V. Snyder, and those books just kind of like solidified me in the fantasy genre. And also like 9th grade is when I just kind of became like obsessed with books. Like it consumed me. Question 6 is what types of questions would you ask your favorite book talkers? There's not really anything I would ask anyone specifically, but like in general, how do you keep coming up with fresh content ideas? Because on my TikTok, I post like 3 times a week and like I can barely keep up with that. Like I feel like I'm struggling to come up with like fresh ideas like 3 times a week, and it's not fun there. And this is like especially for the people who are posting every day. How? Question 7, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think with like most social media platforms, the biggest difficulty I've always found is like establishing yourself on that platform, like establishing a presence there, gaining a following. Like that's always something I've not really been able to do well. And then like I just said, I feel like coming up with innovative ideas is also very difficult. Like everybody tends to do the same kind of video, like, you know, like wrap-ups, the same kind of book recommendation things, book hauls, TBR things, like those kind of like foundational videos that you see like whenever you like enter BookTube, or like they're everywhere on Book Talk as well. And I feel like the trick really isn't coming up with like fresh ideas, but also like coming up with like spins, like original spins on those like established foundational videos. Question 8, when did you start reading? So I did kind of answer this earlier with you know, I've been reading since before I can remember. According to my parents, I've been reading since I could talk. I think until I was about 3, I was more making up pictures based on the stories, which is probably why I tend to like have such an overactive imagination now. And then when I finally learned how to read, like I think it was just before I started kindergarten, that was kind of just like I was reading all the time. I think something that also really helped was how much my parents read to me when I was little. Like every night before bed, like multiple times throughout the day, they would be like reading stories to me. I remember very vividly when I was like 8 or 9 when my dad was reading The Hobbit to me as a bedtime story. Yeah, that was fun and probably also part of the reason for my Lord of the Rings obsession. And then again, like my book obsession kind of exploded through high school, especially in like 2020 and 2021 when I was in like 10th, 11th grade, and it just kind of like exploded and consumed me entirely. And then a lot of people have said that they fell out of reading in university. I'm in my 3rd year. I have 1 more year left of my undergrad after this, and that hasn't happened to me yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't happen. Question 9 is where do you read? So when I'm at my parents' house, which is where I am right now, it's where my book collection is kept. It's where I spend all of my time when I'm not at school. I tend to read in I have a little reading corner set up in like right next to my bookshelf that I spend so much time in. I love that chair. It's so cozy. I love it so much. Before I got the reading corner there, I had another one with a slightly more uncomfortable chair, so I would normally read in my bed, and then when I'm away at school, I either read at my desk or in bed. So question 10 is what kind of books do you like to read? Fantasy, mostly, in case you haven't been able to tell by all this behind me. I'm currently trying to get more into sci-fi, and it's currently working, so I'm getting like a little bit more of a handle on the sci-fi genre, and I will occasionally dabble in like contemporary fiction or romance every now and then if there's something that really catches my interest. Within the fantasy genre, I love epic fantasy, political fantasy, and like historical fantasy. Like I don't know what it is about those, but they just like, they scratch my brain. I love it so much. My favorite trope is the hidden villain trope, like where those like stories where you don't know that the villain is really the villain until like there's like a big plot twist that kind of like blows your mind. That's my favorite thing ever, but it's really inconvenient because I don't know what books have that trope until I've read the book, because like it's a huge spoiler otherwise, and that kind of sucks the fun into the trope. So I'll like the book less if it's like spoiled for me beforehand. And the final question is, what does your book collection look like? Well, it's this. You can kind of like it's 4 bookshelves. All 5 shelves each. Like there's I think you can kind of see like the 4th shelf here. There's one more beneath them that have more books on them. Yeah, this is my book collection. There's a little bit more like files scattered around my room. Like all my classics are kept in my night tables. I have a shelf in my closet that has like a lot of my childhood favorites. Then I have my old bookshelf that has a lot of my like anthologies for school. And I guess that's it. I don't know how I'm supposed to end this off because I normally just like, you know, cut off. Like it's the end of a thought, end of a video, the end. I guess thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support. Even if your support was literally just you clicking on this video out of curiosity as like who is this gremlin creature? Surprise, it's me. Yeah, I guess like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thanks for watching.